Hi, I'm Ursula Luna Dakini, and I'm an astrologer, and I'll be talking to you about Jupiter in Cancer um, from 2025 to 2026 for each sign. But first, I'll be talking about introducing Jupiter in Cancer a little bit in general, and then I'll be going through each sign. And I am also going to be using um, cards to get additional information and to illustrate uh, some of the aspects for each sign. Okay, so Jupiter in Cancer, the archetype of Jupiter in general is that of a good and wise teacher. Um, Other words to describe Jupiter include open-mindedness and generosity. And what's interesting is that our planet Earth, is actually even physically under Jupiter's quote unquote protection, just in a very natural way, because its massive size helps to shield our planet by diverting large meteors and other celestial objects from reaching Earth's surface. Now, Jupiter as an archetype is something like Santa Claus, kind of kind-hearted and cheerful, a wise teacher. And especially in Cancer, he tends to bring good luck and success related particularly to family and home. And in fact, Jupiter is able to operate well at its best in the sign of Cancer. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, and together, the moon and Jupiter want to increase happiness related to home and family. In general, Jupiter increases things. So when it's in Cancer, it tends to, increase those things that, because it's in Moon's house, and then it wants to, then it's able to increase things that a moon cares about. And moon in Cancer is, in general, already emotional and protective as it is. It wants to take care of loved ones and enjoys the security that family brings. Now, Jupiter then helps to expand those desires, both physically and literally. So this summer, lasting until 2026, is a very fertile time if you're considering starting a family or finding and moving into a new home. Jupiter also governs philosophy, spirituality, religion, higher education, foreign countries, and long journeys. In other words, all things idealistic and mind expanding. In other words, Jupiter governs our faith. And in the sign of Cancer, these areas of life gain an added dimension, especially in the matters related to emotions, nostalgia, history, ancestors, and so forth. For Cancer, the sign of Cancer in particular, it often feels as though everything was better in the past. Now, there is a negative side of Jupiter, and it is the tendency to go too far, excessive abundance. Let's say celebration may lead to all kinds of overindulgence in food and drink, and then it leads to illness. So Jupiter in general amplifies everything, as I mentioned earlier, and sometimes it may unintentionally magnify unpleasant things. So the signs ruled by Jupiter, like Pisces and Sagittarius, they can be surprisingly dogmatic and overly principled. They, even though especially Pisces can be very flexible in some ways, but also there's a side that can hold on to their beliefs and their faith to about what is right and wrong, and may not be willing to compromise their worldview because they truly believe it to be the one and only truth. So because of this strong idealism, when in Cancer, Jupiter increases the sense of home and especially the sense of a tribe. We become very aware of who is with us and who is not. And Jupiter wants to protect its own to the extreme if necessary, whether they ask that for that protection or not. And in global politics, this is quite evident that there's an increased desire to defend one's own territory only rather than to cooperate. But generally speaking, Jupiter always wants to help and improve and develop things in a positive and optimistic direction for everyone's benefit. And it is nice to, it is comforting to then to have Jupiter in Cancer, where it is, where Jupiter is, he's strongest and can support us during these major transformational times that the world is undergoing, especially this year. It should also be mentioned that since Jupiter often brings abundance and luck, we sometimes forget that it's not necessarily luck that we have earned ourselves. Sometimes it's just simply a matter of being at the right place at the right time. And if we are fortunate enough to receive Jupiter's blessings, it is wise to always to remember to share those gifts and good fortune given by Jupiter. Share those gifts with others so that we don't have to pay the karmic debt of selfishness later on. In doing so, we also fulfill Jupiter's will and wish, which is to be generous and kind-hearted, generally speaking. So I have in my blog, you can read more about this. I have a blog about the year of 2025. And in that, I already mentioned that we rarely see this many changes within 1 year in astrology. That's because almost all planets have either changed or are in the process of changing signs. And that symbolizes a time when we experience particularly dramatic societal and personal upheavals and turning points, as we are quite aware at this point. Also, Jupiter is in Cancer every 12 years. So a handy way to predict how this transit might affect your life and your sign is to look back what happened from the summer of 2013 to summer of 2014. Something similar might happen again. Typically, these cycles repeat. So those, it may not be exactly the same, but some those topics may come up, whatever happened then. And at the same time as Jupiter brings good fortune to most, it is always also important to remember that at the same time Saturn forms a square to the Jupiter house. So it does bring challenges to everyone's Cancer house throughout most of the year. And you can, I also wrote a Saturn blog about that, and you can go read that about on my web page, lunardakini.com. Okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and bring up each sign. And let's see, how can I go? Okay, so let's start with Aries. Okay, Jupiter's going to be in your fourth house. Jupiter entered the sign of Cancer on the on June 9th. And Jupiter in your fourth house of home and surroundings, home surroundings, it might suggest a possible move. It may talk about things changing, good things, should be good, mostly good things. Anything to do with home or your surroundings in general. And maybe even home renovations or finding a new home, doing something to make your home more comfortable to live in, renovations, for example. There's also a possibility of, children or grandchildren. And so family and home, they bring happiness and success, along with all the things that expand your mind, because Jupiter also rules your ninth house. So also things that traveling and foreign countries and learning new things, those should bring you lots of happiness. And when Jupiter is in Cancer, that's definitely has to do with maybe looking into your family history or ancestors, things like that. And so idealistic and enjoyable learning, or travel, things that expand your minds, they bring deep meaning and new meaning and positivity into your life. And it should give you like lasting, happiness and enjoyment even for years to come. But the main focus here is definitely your home, and for Jupiter to be there, it mainly brings this is mostly good news. Now, why do you get the card you are good enough? I feel it's very much has to do with your Saturn entered your sign in May. Saturn entered Aries, as did Neptune. So there is, it is forming a square to your Cancer house. So there are definitely challenges there. So there are definitely challenges to your something to do with your identity, or they're not necessarily challenges, but they are something to do with your identity, your personality, becoming more mature and so forth. So they could be challenges, but that's why it's so lucky that you have then Jupiter in your home house. And because Jupiter also protects, so you're really going to find that this year, your home is your sanctuary, even if there are challenges. And you know, Saturn in the first house, it's definitely could be somebody challenging your authority in some way, or even your there could be some health matters, although I'm not, but not necessarily. Saturn is typically about chronic issues. It's not about getting sick all of a sudden. So the fact that you're getting this "you are good enough" card does suggest that you're that you are getting challenged a little bit. But again, you have Jupiter has your back this year. So I wouldn't be, Saturn doesn't like to be in the sign of Aries. So Saturn is, even though it is forming the superior square, it is weaker there. And Jupiter is very strong at its best in Cancer. So home is really your sanctuary and the place where you can go and find, even if you're challenged from the outside, it's home and family that will give you comfort and happiness. And then we're going to move to Taurus. So Taurus, Jupiter's in your third house. So this is a great year for all kinds of communication. If you've thought about starting a podcast, website, your own business, this is definitely the year to do it. We're talking about from this summer to next summer. And if you're in the arts, now is the time to go more public and go networking. Don't underestimate your local environment. You may meet surprisingly positive acquaintances, important people just around the corner. So short trips, which is what the third house represents, is something that are going to be very beneficial this year. And things to do with siblings or people that are like siblings to you will bring joy and all kinds of benefits to you this year. Jupiter also rules your 8th house, so some sort of inheritance is possible, but mainly it looks like this is about your surrounding area. So even a move is a possibility in this case. And the fact that you're getting the card of step out of your comfort zone, that's definitely talking about like, it's kind of telling you to, to explore, to put yourself out there a little bit more. If you're an artist or anything like that, nobody's going to find you if you don't network, if you don't make an effort. So this is definitely saying, yes, we know you like your your comfort and your sofa, but this is the year to um, get off the couch and go exploring. And you don't even have to go far, just around the corner, and you'll be surprised how much Jupiter blessings you should be finding out there. Okay, then we're gonna move to Gemini. Now, this is a very lucky year for Gemini. This is quite the lucky year because Jupiter is now Jupiter moved to your money house, and it is nice to have Jupiter on your side in your money house, and remember that it won't happen again for 12 years. So do take advantage of this time. Now, chronic financial issues, they should be resolved during this Jupiter year. And this is a great time to ask for a raise, things like that. Now, there is a possibility that you may end up also thinking that this luck is never going to end. And whatever money comes in, you'll end up spending it. So do be aware that this luck will end in about a year. So do not waste the opportunity. And obviously be generous to other people as well, but don't waste it all is my advice. Now, Jupiter also rules your career and relationship houses. So it doesn't get much better than this, because although Jupiter is not, it's in your second house and not in those houses, but when Jupiter is doing well, those areas like your public image and career and your relationship, intimate relationships or any kind of relationships, they also look very promising because Jupiter can help, because Jupiter rules those areas for you. This is particularly for Gemini rising people. Now, Saturn, however, may distance you from social groups or friendships that no longer serve you. But that's fine because you're ready for a new happy chapter. So no problem there. Now, it's interesting that you get communication is key. I mean, how appropriate is that for Gemini? Which is all about communication as it is. So it does suggest that putting yourself out there and just in generally, since I just mentioned that this is really good for your career and all kinds of relationships, then communicating and clearly communicating and being out there and networking, that's where then that also can lead to increase in your money house. So it's all related. So that's why I think that's why you're getting the communication card here, which I think is just so right on, which is great. Okay, then we're going to go to Cancer. So obviously, Cancer, Jupiter is going to, Jupiter is now in your first house. And Jupiter in the house of identity and your body, it does bring luck and success, especially for your personal brand. However, since when Jupiter is in your first house, there's definitely a tendency to go a little bit overboard with celebrations and food and drinks and so forth. So this is definitely try to keep in mind to temper those tendencies. And because there's a possibility of weight gain when Jupiter is in the first house. So, but that's only if you, that's up to you. Otherwise, this is quite the lucky. It's quite lucky to have Jupiter in your first house, especially if your career depends on your personal brand and so forth. So I think mentally you also begin to feel more hopeful and positive that you have in a long time, especially by July. And your personal life philosophy starts to become more clear. And I think you'll be a little bit more selective in terms of with whom you invest your energy. But I mean, in general, this is an excellent year. Great year to travel and study fun things and so forth. You know, really to expand and learn new things. The fact that you get this be bold and make the first move, this is definitely a reference to the fact that typically Cancers can be quite shy and don't necessarily, they have no need to be, out in public. But this is definitely asking you, the card's definitely asking you to put yourself out there a little bit more because you have Jupiter on your side this year and it won't repeat for 12 years. So this is definitely, if you are thinking about making any kind of major moves of any kind, this is your time. It's an excellent time for that in general. You have the luck on your side. Okay, so then Leo. So Jupiter is in your 12th house, and it may bring up some sort of old fears and insecurities to the surface, but only in order to heal them. You may have this feeling or need to retreat from the spotlight, which is kind of rare for you because you do enjoy the spotlight. But if you resist that feeling and push forward anyway, it may backfire because the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. So so recharging your like spiritual batteries is essential. And changes in your public image or status may have not brought quite the satisfaction you expected. You have enjoyed the limelight, but it's not what you thought it would be. So Jupiter now kind of helps you to go inward to find your own wisdom and creativity, but only through deep self-reflection of your own identity and your values. So it's interesting that you get this card. It's time to release negativity. And I think it's very much, it is talking about these old fears and insecurities, and time to release them. I mean, it's an excellent time. Jupiter is a very healing planet. So it's definitely helping you to work on those any kinds of fears and insecurities that may have come up when you have been more in the public eye. And now it's time to kind of go inwards and re-examine things and how about that is kind of understand more about yourself and who you are, and identity and reflection, reflect on your values and really know who you are. Okay. And then Virgo. So Jupiter in your 11th house. Now, first of all, Saturn has finally left your relationship house. So I know it has not been easy for a lot of especially Virgo rising. You've had a lot of relationship issues, and possibly all kinds of not just intimate relationship, but partnership issues, but all kinds of relationship issues. So this is a great time for, now the door is finally open that Saturn has left. And it is a great time for a new relationship. And Jupiter can help you here because to find new friends, reach back to old friends and find exciting new networks and so forth. It's and if you are looking for a relationship, that's where it's the 11th house of friends and benefactors and networks. That's where you will find a new relationship, possibly, a friend of a friend or some sort of networking event. So all social interaction and travel are definitely recommended and lucky. Don't just stay at home, but to go out there. And Jupiter also rules your home. This is especially Virgo rising. Jupiter also rules your home house. And so things at home should improve significantly now that Jupiter is in good condition again. And this may also have to do with your networks or a new relationship, offering this kind of support and encouragement and new opportunities. And the card that you got, the energy is gaining momentum. I think this card very much talks about you've been feeling quite pessimistic, and it feels like a never-ending. You tried to be pessimist. You tried to be optimistic, but it's been 2.5 years, 3 years with Saturn in your 7th house, and it's been difficult. So, it just doesn't. It's not going to change overnight. Although for some it may. But so I think that the energy is gaining momentum, is definitely talking about this, um, feeling optimistic again about life in general. I think that you're definitely gonna feel that, little by little, and it's a very positive card. um, Waxing moon, it is gaining good momentum, good energy, good vibes are back. Okay, so congratulations, Virgo, you made it. Then Libra. Okay, so Jupiter in your 10th house, your career house looks good. It looks amazing. So it may indicate a new job or new public role. It may expand in some deeply or public role that may expand in some sort of deeply meaningful way. All kinds of great new opportunities and support, should be coming your way. And do take advantage of them, because you won't get this chance again for another 12 years. Um, Job opportunities in general come easier now than in many years. And even if you thought about your own business, now is a great time to showcase your skills, your brand publicly. The only thing to watch for is overindulgence, because Jupiter rules your 6th house, so any kind of overindulgence may affect your health, but it shouldn't be anything serious. It's only if you caused it that way. Now, I do have to mention that you will be getting your Saturn has already moved. Saturn is already in Aries, so it is opposite your sign in your 7th house, the house of relationships. So that will be something that is going to be a bit of a challenge to you for the next 3 or so years. So it's partnerships. They're going to be tested. Typically, typically that transit, people tend to either they commit or they separate. It's kind of nothing in between. It's time for testing. Your relationships are being tested, and either it's break it or make it in terms of relationships. So but the good thing is that you have Jupiter in your 10th, giving you support, bringing you support, and so it shouldn't be anything. We all have to. We're all going to get tested in this way. Each sign gets tested. Saturn moves into all of our relationship house at some point. So, what's interesting is that you get the a time to give rather than take card. And I think it's about it can be about two things. So it can be about, being more generous something to do with your job or your public role, that it's expanding so much and you're getting a lot more good attention. So this is something, then it's always good to share that that good luck. But it also means that you may have to be, at the same time, may have to be a lot more patient in um, your you need patience in your relationships, particularly partnerships. So sometimes when we have Saturn in the seventh house, it can also mean that it may mean that your partner's having a hard time, and it's not affecting your relationship directly, but if the other person is having a hard time, then then it is a time for you to be there for them, rather than be asking for a lot of attention, which they are not necessarily ready to give. So those are the two possibilities. Either be generous, and it can be both. Be generous in your good luck, and then in terms of partnerships, you are being asked to be there for your partner a lot more. You may not be getting all your needs met. It's your partner's time. You're going to have to be there for them a little bit more now. So then Scorpio. So Scorpio in the 10th, 9th house. So now Jupiter rules your money house as well. So now that the 9th house is about spiritual things, anything that expands our mind. So travel, interesting studies, creative projects, and things like that. So there's a possibility that those things, maybe you've been learning them for years, and there's a big possibility that they actually may now even bring you income of some kind, or will eventually lead to for you, you've been able to support yourself from those. In any case, I just want to mention that because Jupiter rules your money house, so this should be good news to you in that sense as well. But at the very least, your life philosophy, it expands and deepens, some sort of a whole new outlook on life, a whole new beginning, the way you see things. Jupiter is about meaning and purpose, and faith. So I think that you are really, maybe you are finding that for some reason you are looking at everything completely differently, and you're going to have to, not necessarily have to, but you find that what you thought as meaningful before, or what your life purpose was, now changes. There's something here that is expanding and changing in a way that changes everything, mostly for the good. Now, I do have to mention that Saturn in your 6th house, making that square, it does signal an unusually heavy workload or some sort of daily push, which could affect your health. So to be aware of that, not to push yourself, because you do have a tendency to push yourself, and especially Saturn in Aries is this feeling of needing to prove yourself somehow, constantly. But there's no need for that. So don't do that, or that may eventually affect your health if you keep pushing it. So this year is now more than ever is a good time to try to find a balance between work and rest. The fact that you get this hold your vision card, the fixed moon, is very interesting, because I feel that it's about this change that you're experiencing in your life philosophy, the way you're seeing things in a very different light now. There might be a sense that you have to do something about it immediately. You are a Scorpio, and so Mars is your ruler. So Mars makes anybody impatient and wanting to act. But this card is suggesting, let's see how things develop. Hold your vision. Things are going well, but don't act just yet. Let things develop, because you are forming this whole new outlook on life. So see where it lands. And I think at the very least, by next year this time, you will know exactly what to do and how to act. Okay, then Sagittarius. So you are getting you get a fun card. A win-win outcome is forecast. That's great. So Jupiter in the 8th house. Now this can talk about this can mean the 8th house is about partners, could be partners' money, investments. It can even talk about of some sort of inheritance, and in this case, related to home and family, ancestry. Maybe elder relatives are passing away, and you'll get inheritance through that. There's also a possibility of some sort of rearrangement regarding family and money. Now the eighth house is kind of mysterious and karmic. It's about things that spiritual and material, things that we owe others or others owe us. So Jupiter has come to collect or bring you something you are owed. So it remains to be seen exactly what that is, and will depend on your individual chart. And this is particularly for Sagittarius rising people, about the 8th house. But in general, it's better to keep things quite private, even though the card talks about such a win-win outcome. That's great. But still, let's keep in mind that this is the 8th house. So do keep things private until they're fully sorted out, and then you can publicly announce about whatever changes have happened. And but it does look like you'll be able to find whatever this money or some sort of karmic um, karmic thing that you owe or somebody owes you. Looks like there's a balancing of the scales. So I think that's a very good sign that some sort of very agreeable agreement um, will be reached. So that's excellent news. Okay, so Capricorn. Okay, so now Jupiter in the seventh house. Jupiter in your relationship house, it brings luck in relationships and even possibly children or grandchildren. That's a possibility. Now for single Capricorns, this is the year to find the one. This is it. You have 1 year to find the one, because this won't happen again for another 12 years. So do attend, any and all events and local events and try out new hobbies. There's a big possibility that's where you'll find a new relationship if that's what you're looking for. Now, this can be very healing to all kinds of relationships. If you are already in an established relationship, then this can bring some sort of commitment, moving in together, getting married, having children. Jupiter here deepens and improves existing relationships, and you may meet someone new if you already if you're looking for one. Now, Capricorns do tend prioritizing work over people. This is not the time. This is not the year to do that, because that's you sabotaging yourself. So this is the time to put yourself out there. Like the card says, it's time to take action. This is the time. This is the year to put yourself out there, be more social, and choose relationships over work. Do not, put work aside this year. I mean, take care of it, obviously, but don't overdo it. Because you have Jupiter on your side to find and improve all your relationships. So good luck. You don't need much of it because you have Jupiter in the seventh house. Okay, so Aquarius. So Jupiter in the sixth house. Jupiter in your sixth house of work, of daily work routines. Also people who might be working for you. Pets are also included in this house. Now, Jupiter in the house of daily routine and work is sort of Aquarian dream in one way, because it can talk about exciting new networks and meaningful work, maybe even increased income, because Jupiter is doing so well, is is in good condition this year, and Jupiter rules your second house, which is the house of money. And Jupiter also rules your 11th house of networks. So this is definitely a great time to work with your network, find new networks, and to go out there and be active. However, there's a big possibility also that because sixth house is a work house, there's something there. It can even if you enjoy, even if you are doing something you enjoy doing, it is still work. Work is still work, even if it's something you enjoy doing. So that there is a possibility of burnout if you don't set firmer boundaries between work and personal life. So do keep that in mind, because you do have Pluto in your first house, and it is revolutionizing your sense of identity. And you have this enormous transformation going on about who you are, your brand, and your body even. So yes, your networks and friends can, they help you in this transformation that some sort of identity transformation you're going through. But you do have to watch out that you don't work too hard, because you do definitely have tendency for that. And the fact that you get this card, you and your loved ones are safe, a very Cancerian card. So that suggests to me that this is actually maybe the year when you do realize how much maybe you have been taking home for granted, home and loved ones for granted. So this is a reminder that your home and loved ones there are actually extremely important, even though you do love your groups and networks, but home is where we find ourselves when we can charge our batteries, and where we can really rest. It's not the groups and networks and even friends, it's home and your loved ones. So definitely the suggestion of do not ignore your loved ones. You will be, there's something here that is saying you will be needing your loved ones. So don't take them for granted. Is the message here, I believe. Okay, then finally Pisces. All right. Well, the big news is, I mean, what a great card for you. Your hard work is paying off, and it sure has, because Saturn has finally moved from your house of identity, your first house. So wow, that was challenging. The past 2 or 3 years have been quite challenging. So congratulations, you made it. Both Saturn and Neptune have finally left. So I think that you are gonna feeling quite a lot more clear about who you are, first of all. So congratulations. So any kind of creative projects connected to your identity or personal brand, you know, they bring success and satisfaction and joy in ways that you haven't felt in a long time. And again, because Saturn has left the building. Now, um, especially because something about your creativity and your hard work, they are now visible to all and admired by all. So, there's a deeply satisfying feeling here. And children or grandchildren bring so much joy. And they also, something about here, children, having children obviously changes your sense of identity. It could be grandchildren also. So this should feel like one of the most fulfilling and fun years in a long time, because it's your Jupiter in your fifth house. Your fifth house is your Cancer house. So that's where, anything that brings you joy, Jupiter in that house is, I mean, how much fun is that? So that's also romance, a creative project, children, things like that. Anything that give you joy. I think that you're definitely, and I think you'll see some sort of, I mean, with this card, your hard work is paying off. I think that you'll be seeing something here where Saturn, when Saturn leaves and we have worked hard, Saturn leaves a reward of some kind, typically. So I think that you'll be enjoying and feeling joyful again, and possibly some sort of creative project or something that you've worked very hard on for the past 2 or 3 years is now for everybody to see and admire. So congratulations. This should be a really fun, fulfilling year for you. So thank you for listening, and like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. And you can go to my website to read about my astrology coaching services. And you can order my free newsletter at lunadakini.com. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and so forth. So thank you so much.